Inigo Lopez de Loya was born in a small town called Azpeitia at the castle of Loiola in Spain. His parents, Don Beltran and Donna Marina, had a big family of 13 kids, of which Inigo was the youngest. Sadly, his mother Donna soon died after his birth, and a young Inigo was put in the care of Maria de Garden, the local blacksmith's wife, who brought him up. As young Inigo grew up, he developed a strong interest in military exercises and was driven by a desire for fame. He read stories of hero knights who conquered the enemies and received wealth and women. At just 17 years old, he joined the army, and at least according to one writer, he was a fancy dresser, an expert dancer, a womanizer, sensitive to insult, and a rough, punkish swordsman who used his privileged status to escape prosecution for violent crimes committed with his priest brother at carnival time. 1 year after joining the army, he took up arms for military leader Antonio Manrique. Inigo was good at what he did and what he had dreamed to be all his life, so much so that he earned himself the title Servant of the Court. He participated in many battles over 12 years, but in May 1521, at the Battle of Pamplona, this would be his last. He was severely injured when in battle, a cannonball ricketed off a nearby wall and shattered his right leg. Straight away, he underwent harsh and multiple surgeries to repair his leg, with his bones set and re-broken. After the operations, his right leg was left shorter than his left leg, resulting in a limp he would have for the rest of his life.
This time was rough on Ignatius' body, but it transformed his spiritual life. He had no books nor romances to read this time, so he moved his attention to religious texts on the life of Jesus and the lives of the saints. These books slowly changed his desires away from battles, romance, and fame, so a life of prayer, meditation, and penance. He discovered that his dream of romantic heroism would only leave him dissatisfied, by his goal of being a saint would bring him joy and peace. Once recovered from his harsh operations, he decided to change his entire life. He examined his conscience, confessed, gave away his opulent clothes to the poor he met, exchanged it for garments of sackcloth. Then he hung his sword in the Virgin's altar. He changed his way of life completely. He lived in a town called Montserrat, and for about a year begging for whiskey. For a couple of months, he spent much time praying in the cave nearby, doing penances, praying for 7 hours a day, and developing his fundamentals for spiritual exercises. He then spent a number of years studying and growing his understanding in the faith. He went to the University of Paris, where he gained his magistration at the age of 43, and was here he met two very important friendships with Francis Xavier and Peter Faber, two Portuguese students who would like to become his co-associates and helping him from the Jesuit order. In 1539, and along with two close friends, Ignatius formed the Society of Jesus, now known as the Jesuits, which was approved by Pope Paul III in 1540. Ignatius sends dozens of orders and missions across Europe to create schools, colleges, and seminaries. He wrote letter to Francis Xavier in Latin phrase which means "Go set the world on fire," and they did this go to order. The order stressed self-denial, obedience to the Pope, the superiors in the church hierarchy. To summarize in a motto, complete self-denial. On July 31, 1556, Ignatius of Loyola's life on earth came to an end, probably as a result of a Roman fever. The Sanctuary of Loyola, or the Shrine and Basilica of Loyola, consists of a series of edifices built in Churrigueresque Baroque style around the birthplace of Saint Ignatius of Loyola, founder of the Society of Jesus. The sanctuary stands along the river Urola in the neighbourhood of Loiola in the municipality of Azpeitia, Basque Country, Spain. Ignatius of Loyola, whose real name was Inigo Lopez de Loyola, was the son of the Lord of Loyola, member of an important Biscayan family. He was born in 1491 in his family house in Loyola. After he died, his birthplace became a place of veneration. In the 17th century, the house where he was born was given to the Society of Jesus, the order built there near the birthplace of its founder, the Sanctuary of Loyola. In 1900, the Society commissioned an altar for the sanctuary, employing metalwork artist Placido Zuluaga, who had won international success creating intricate artworks by demastening, a technique which inlays gold and silver into iron. Zuluaga's iron structure houses panels depicting the life of Saint Ignatius and supports a Damascene crucifix and candlesticks from the workshop of Jose Felipe Artamendi. The sanctuary is built around the tower house of the Loyola family. The building dates from the 14th and 15th century and is divided into lower half built in stone, which recalls its past and a fortress, and upper half built in brick that represents its evolution into a palatial house.
We are in the heart of this house, the room where my transformation took place. This place has changed a lot since those days. I was installed in a bedroom on this floor. Their minds were on a fatal outcome. My leg bones had fused together badly. Doctors tried to alleviate the pain I suffered, as well as to mend the leg wound. I never complained. I underwent extremely painful operations, although that didn't stop me limping for the rest of my life. I was delirious day and night in the midst of tremendous suffering. How much physical pain. One day the doctors announced my imminent death. But God had other ideas. Recovery was long and arduous. I soon began to think about my future. A limp would prevent me from continuing my former life. What would become of me?
Hang on, what am I saying? When I was born in 1491, Columbus had not yet reached the Americas. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Be careful! Don't burn yourself. It'd be better to come when it gets dark. We sit and smoke.
Was consumed by flames. This house was a fortress, yes, and it defended us from our enemies. But above all, it is a symbol of the power of the Loyolas. A family that must be worth more in race, in men, in honor, which is what our coat of arms represents.
The audio guide explains the life and works of Saint Ignatius and also shows an overview of what his life was like through the different rooms of the house. The most significant room is the Chapel of Conversion, on the top floor of the building, which is where St. Ignatius overcome life-threatening surgical operations. As a convalescent, it was here and in this chapel of his room that he began to read about Christ and the saints, discovering that he needed to change his lifestyle and become a pilgrim in search of Christ. He did so and became Ignatius of Loyola. Reading the lives of Jesus and the saints made Ignatius happy and aroused desires to do great things. Ignatius realized that these feelings were clues to God's direction of him. Over the years, Ignatius became exposed in the art of spiritual direction. The old medieval tower house is the ancestral home to the Onyas and Loyola noble family, and the place where Inigo de Loyola was born in 1491. He later devoted himself to God in 1521, and this ancestral home is now the core of the Loyola sanctuaries and its reason for being. We held a special Mass in this most important part of the tower, this chapel of conversion, located at the fourth floor of this holy house.